The long-awaited fishing update is reeling its way into Fallout 76 this June, and you know what that means. Bethesda's back at it again with more perk card changes, plus a few brand new ones to shake things up. I'm not sure why they've been dropping major perk card overhauls with every recent update, but here we are with another round, so let's dive in and break down everything you need to know before this update hits in June. Before we dive into the actual perk card changes and new additions, here's a quick little heads up. Bethesda has renamed a few existing perk cards. Now these are just name changes, no tweaks to their effects or functionality, but it's worth mentioning if you're updating your build after this update, you might have trouble finding certain perk cards at first since they'll be under a completely new name, and I will go through them real quick. You should see them on screen right now, but Science is changing to Science exclamation point, so that one's not going to be too difficult. Science Expert is changing to Pyrotechnical. Science Master is changing to Cryoologist. Rifleman is changing to Down Ranger. Rifleman Expert is changing to Scoped Up. Rifleman Master is changing to Smart Shot. Commando is changing to Center Masochist. Commando Expert is changing to Fast Fighter. Commando Master is changing to Number Cruncher. Shotgunner changing to Easy Target. Shotgun Expert changing to Love the Spread, which is fantastic. And then Shotgun Master is changing to Shotgun Champ, which I don't really get. But some of these effects, or some of these perk cards are having their effects changed too, but these are all going through a different name change. So the Science ones are going to change, all of the Riflemans are changing, same thing with the Commandos, and of course the Shotguns. So all of these are being changed in terms of their name. Some of them are having different effects added onto them, some of them are having different effects taken off, but these are just the name changes. Moving on to the actual perk cards now. Alright, no more wasting time. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this perk card update, the actual changes. As usual with Bethesda, there's a decent chunk to go through. I'll quickly cover each one and highlight the standout changes you should really pay attention to. You should see the full list on screen right now, and of course I suggest, because I had to cut a bunch of the stuff and paste them together on Canva, I suggest you go into the description and you look at the original Bethesda article that I've linked below, like I said, and just check out the full list on there, and I will go through them, but some of them are kind of BS that no one really cares about, so I will highlight the ones that you should care about after I go through the full list. Up first, we have Slow Metabolizer. Rank 1, all food satisfies hunger by an additional 50%. Rank 2 is an additional 100%, so you're basically getting more bang for your buck in terms of food. Next up, we have Dromedary. Rank 1, all drinks quench thirst by an additional 50%. Rank 2, all drinks quench thirst by an additional 100%, so basically the same thing as Slow Metabolizer, but for water. Then up next we have Hydrofix, Chems Restore Thirst, and then rank 2, Chems Restore twice as much thirst. Up next we have Munchie Resistance. Rank 1, Chems Restore Hunger. Rank 2, Chems Restore twice as much hunger. So they're pushing the chems in this update. And up next we have Chem Fiend. Rank 1, any chems you take last 100% longer. Up next, after that, we have the point increased from 1 to 2, and then they removed ranks 2 and 3. So that one will be a little bit more useful. Up next, we have Travel Agent. Rank 1, you can fast travel while over-encumbered at an increased cost, and that will depend on how over-encumbered you are. Up next, we have Dodgy, which got some nice changes. Rank 1, Evade now cost AP and no longer has a cooldown. Point cost increase from 1 to 2, and then Dev Note, the AP cost is 10 times the cooldown time. The cooldown scales with damage avoided, meaning higher damage attacks cost more AP to avoid. If you would not have enough AP to pay for the evade, it cannot occur. So meaning if you are completely out of AP, you cannot evade anymore. Adrenaline is getting a huge update. Rank 1 gained plus 10% damage for 30 seconds per kill. Duration refreshes with kills, so that means every 30 seconds, as long as you kill someone, it'll keep on stacking. But you'll notice it is now only 1 rank, which is huge. If you didn't know, Adrenaline was one of the more costly perks in the whole entire game, but they are trying to change that to allow players to get a little bit more damage and allow players to have a little bit more flexibility with builds, and this is huge. Up next, we have the Science perks. We have Science rank 1, increase energy damage based on your intelligence. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, now only 1 rank. Science Expert rank 1, increased fire damage based on your intelligence. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, now only 1 rank. And then Science Master rank 1, increased cryo damage based on your intelligence. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, now only 1 rank. Now, this is a huge change up and will allow for a bunch of flexibility in a lot of people's builds now. So basically, you only have to throw on Science and then maybe Science Expert 2 if you want to get a little bit more extra damage, unless you go for a cryo build, but that will be really helpful with Science Master. Now, the Cold Shoulder should be phenomenal. Up next, we have Makeshift Warrior, rank 1, melee weapons break 40% slower, rank 2, melee weapons break 60% slower, rank 3, melee weapons break 80% slower. They removed ranks 4 and 5, thank God. Gunsmith, basically the same thing as Makeshift Warrior. Rank 1, guns break 20% slower. Rank 2, guns break 35% slower. Rank 3, guns break 50% slower. And they also removed ranks 4 and 5. Up next, we have White Knight, which actually has no changes, but it was moved from agility to intelligence, probably to make up for the fact that people are going to take out some of their science perks, because now you only need Science 1, so you may be able to have that perk card on also. And then, you saw earlier, the Riflemans are getting their name changed, but now, moving up, Rifleman, rank 1, you do 10% range damage to far enemies. Rank 2, you do 15% range damage to far enemies. And then rank 3, you do 20% range damage to far enemies, so basically you get 20% extra damage. Rifleman Expert, your scoped weapons have 50% more range when aiming. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, removed ranks 2 and 3. So kind of a shitty perk in my opinion. Rifleman 1 definitely a lot better than Rifleman Expert. Rifleman Master up next, deal 25% weak spot damage while aiming a scoped weapon. That's huge. That'll be really big for people that don't use VATS. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, removed ranks 2 and 3. And then that is, like I said, is really, really nice. That will provide a little bit more flexibility and just 25% extra damage when aiming in. Just make sure you throw a scope on every single weapon that you have if you don't use VATS, and boom, you're good to go. Up next, we have Sniper. Rank 1, gain improved control and hold your breath 75% longer while aiming scopes. Removed ranks 2 and 3. They're trying to push away from VATS a little bit, as you could tell with this update, and I guess allow people to use rifles a little bit more, not the fixer VAT combo, because that's been the meta for so long. So it seems like they're trying to change it up a little bit. And then after that, again, we have another Sniper perk. Long shot, rank 1, your scoped weapons have 30% more range and accuracy when aiming. Removed ranks 2 and 3. We're not done yet, just hang in there, we have so much more to go. Up next, the Commando perk. Rank 1, plus 25% range damage when targeting the torso. Rank 2, plus 50% range damage when targeting the torso. Rank 3, plus 75% range damage when targeting the torso. Don't know if that's going to count in VATS also. I would assume that it will. Just you're going to have to be at a far distance, but who knows if that will be better than the weak spot damage you get when targeting a enemy's head. Next up, we have Commando Expert. Your movement speed bonus is also applied to your reload speed. Point increased from 1 to 2, removed ranks 2 and 3. That's awesome. That's going to be so fun to use and will come in handy. Up next, Commando Master. When damage is increased, or weapon damage is increased by AP cost, point cost increased from 1 to 3. removed ranks 2 and 3. That's going to be really big. That will be super helpful for a lot of running gunners out there, like I said, that are using things like the Fixer. Next, we have the Ground Pounder. Your small guns reload 10% faster and have better hip-fire accuracy at rank 1. Rank 2 is 20% faster reload and better hip accuracy. And rank 3, your small guns reload 30% faster and have better hip-fire accuracy. Up next, we have Skeet Shooter. Rank 1, your small guns have improved accuracy and spread, removed ranks 2 and 3. That will be helpful for some nice shotgun builds. Speaking of shotguns, we have Shotgunner. Rank 1, plus 50% range damage to crippled targets. Rank 2, plus 50% range damage to crippled targets. Rank 3, plus 75% range damage to crippled targets. That one will be huge, and a lot of shotgun builds will get so much use out of that perk card right there. I guarantee you, you're basically also always going to be getting an extra 75% damage because you will always cripple your enemies, especially if you're using something like a Pepper Shaker. Up next, we have Shotgunner Expert. Rank 1, weapons that fire 3 or more projectiles, so shotguns, gain 30% extra range. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, removed ranks 2 and 3. Not as good as Shotgunner, just like with the Commando perks 2. Up next, Shotgunner Master. Each projectile your weapon fires increases your damage against crippled targets by 10%. That one's going to be pretty big, especially for shotgun builds. Point cost increased from 1 to 3, removed ranks 2 and 3. Like I said, that one's going to be really good. I'm liking the shotgun love that they're giving to people in this update. People have been asking for it for a really long time, especially after the most recent shotgun nerf. Coming up next, Scattershot. Rank 1, 20% of the damage dealt to a limb is applied to all the limbs on your target, which, again, pretty huge, especially because the head still counts as a limb. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, removed ranks 2 and 3. Now, Scattershot will be really nice if it stacks with all of the weak spot damage increases that you get too through your other various perk cards. We'll have to test that out when the update comes live. Moving Target is up next. Gain 5% chance to evade while sprinting. No power armor. Rank 2, gain plus 10% chance to evade while sprinting. No power armor. Rank 3, gain plus 15% chance to evade while sprinting. No power armor. Up next, after that, we have Goat Legs. Rank 1, take no damage from falling. Removed rank 2. Kind of useless, especially if you have, like, any of the mutations or you're in power armor. Then we have Number Cruncher, which used to be Commando Master. Increased damage per AP from 1% to 2%. Armor reduced to a single rank, and then Powersmith reduced to a single rank. I just wanted to throw those on there at the end because they're not really too significant, but you will notice a change. So those are all of the perk card changes that Bethesda is releasing in this new update in June. Let's talk about the standouts because there were so many that we just had to go through. Before we get into the standouts of the normal perk cards, I did just have to mention that there is going to be one change to a legendary perk card, and that is going to be with the Blood Sacrifice card, as you should see now. Rank 1, using AP and VATS now consumes HP instead at 150% more cost. Rank 2, AP and VATS now consumes HP instead at 125% more cost. Rank 3, using AP and VATS now consumes HP instead at 100% more cost. Rank 4, using AP and VATS now consumes HP at 50% more cost, which is pretty insane. This basically will mean that you'll have VATS forever, pretty much. There'll be some definitely broken combos out there, especially if you have a vampire's weapon or something like that and you're instantly just healing yourself, so you're always regenerating your health while using VATS. It's going to be pretty nutty, so we'll have a video out on that when it comes out, just testing it and how broken it will be. Now, moving on to the standout perk cards. Like I said, some of these are going to be a lot better, in my opinion, that you may find them, or vice versa, so just keep that in mind. Some of these changes you may not like, some of these changes you may love, but in my opinion, some of these standouts are going to be the Travel Agent. You could fast travel while over encumbered at an increased cost. This is going to be huge for people that don't have Fallout First and don't rely on the survival tent every 5 minutes. After that, Dodgy, also pretty big change. Like I said, point and cost increased from 1 to 2, but evade now cost AP and no longer has a cooldown, so Secret Service armor may be back on top. Another big change, Adrenaline. This perk is going to be huge. The duration refreshes with kills is pretty big. but the change of gain plus 10% damage for 30 seconds, which each kill, again, going to be pretty big. After that, the science perk, mainly the first science perk, the the increased energy damage based on your intelligence, that is going to be pretty nutty, considering that you probably will be able to boost your intelligence significantly more than you would ever be able to get just plain perk card damage increases from the old perk cards, because you would have like 40% extra damage from that, but you could scale your intelligence basically forever up to 1,000, so you could have significantly more damage off of that. That's going to be interesting. I do like also how they're making Science Master and Science Expert like kind of element based, one's for cryo, one's for fire. That's going to be really big. Again, the Science Master, like I mentioned earlier, is going to significantly increase the damage of the cold shoulder, and I think that that weapon will probably be one of the best shotguns in the entire game, if not one of the better weapons in the game after this update. I definitely will be coming out with a quick shotgun build, but all the science perks. Commando Expert is also pretty big, like I said earlier. I just keep laughing at it because your movement speed bonus is also going to be applied to your reload speed. That's just huge and nutty. You should be reloading so fast. Commando Master, weapon damage is increased by AP cost. That's also going to be pretty big. And then even just the plain Commando, where the ranked or the range damage increases when targeting the torso. That's going to be pretty weird too, especially if it stacks in VATS. That will be really, really, really nice. I think all of the chem perks are kind of useless. The makeshift warrior, gunsmith, also kind of useless. The riflemen are okay. All of the sniper perks are just kind of okay. And then all of these shotgun perks are also really, really nice. If you can't tell, they're really trying to push the shotguns on this build with the whole entire, like, more pellets, more damage and everything like that. More pellets, you could do more damage to crippled targets and everything like that. So I think they really are trying to push the hell out of shotguns after the community kind of flipped out after the most recent shotgun patch. And just one more change before we end the video. This is a direct quote from the Bethesda article in the description regarding the perk requirements for crafting. It says, "We're removing the perk requirements from crafting. Since you already need to have learned the plan, we feel that requiring you to change your perk loadout to craft is cumbersome. Thank the Bethesda gods for doing this change. This is phenomenal. So many people have been wanting this for so long. Me personally, I hated that that was a mechanic that you had to put on a specific card to craft something. Hated it. I think, yeah, once you learn the plan, you should be able to craft whatever. And then also, if you're at level 1000, you probably could just get the perk card whenever you want. It's not really like a wall of like a skill wall or anything like that. Like, you have to play the game for this long before you could craft it. Like in other games, like in New Vegas, you had to level up your heavy guns to a certain level before you could actually use a certain heavy gun. It's not really like that in this game, so I'm so happy that they're finally getting rid of that. Thank you, Todd. Well, there we have it, ladies and gents of the Wasteland. We've made it to the end of another Fallout 76 video. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments if you are excited for more perk card changes. I know I am. It's always fun to get some new perks. I am, though, kind of tired of switching my build up every 3 months, but oh well, at least the changes are pretty solid and they're not stupid. This time around is probably one of the weaker ones, but I mean, hey man, they're still all decent. It's a nice change up to the game, and it's nice that they're actually kind of reviving the meta after so long of it just being the fixer and VATS and everything. It's kind of nice to see, you know, the cold shoulder get a little bit of love, or pistols in the last update get a little bit of love, so it's definitely nice to see, but it's you know, it's a 50-50. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. What's your favorite change? Let me know in the comments. What's your least favorite change? Let me know. Like I said, I'm a big fan of most of them. I think some of them are stupid and didn't really need to change, but oh well, doesn't really matter what I think. I don't work at Bethesda. But as always, I appreciate you motherfuckers for watching this motherfucking video, and I will see you in the Wasteland.